Welcome to Country Kickback, where you'll hear the latest music from performers you already know and discover new music and artists from around the world. If you have an artist you'd like us to chat with, reach out to the team at countrykickback.com, or you can watch our live videos and more by following us on social media and YouTube. Here is your host, Danni Shaw, with the latest from Country Kickback.
Hello. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you, and then I've got to come back and see you guys twice in one night, which I absolutely love. So thank you for tuning in a few moments ago. I hope you enjoyed hearing about Caitlin's new single. And thank you for joining us tonight. Brendan's got a new single out, which if you haven't already seen it, you need to go and have a look because the clip is awesome. The song is amazing. I love all of his songs, but honestly, it's one of his best songs. So make sure you go and check it out. But before you do, let's have a chat about it and hear about the song. And if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. We might welcome Brendan into the room. Hello.
Hello, Danni.
How are you? It feels like ages since I've seen you, and it's not really. But it feels like
not really. I think last time we were both accepting awards in Tamworth.
Yeah.
When we caught up.
That was crazy. I still look at that and think, did that happen? That didn't really happen, did it?
Yeah, well, it did. I was there. I witnessed it. You won an award.
You did,
and
you
that's
did
fantastic.
Too. You did too.
Yes,
it was so good. And I remember sitting there and everyone was cheering, and it's like, did they call our names? You have to doubt yourself, don't you? You're sitting there going, do I have to get up?
Well, Emma, who says hello, Emma, my wife, who says hello, she said, we were sitting behind you, and she was just about to reach out and tap you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Danni, that's you."
That's what Mum said. It's just like, you didn't get up. I know, because I was sitting there.
Looking.
Yeah. I thought, that's not me. No, it was. And then when I got to the bottom of the steps before you walk onto the stage, I had a quick look around just to make sure nobody else was walking up, just in case. Better check, because it'd be really embarrassing if it's not me and I get up on that stage. Yes.
Well, you could have said, well, it's just practice for next year.
It is, that's right. Ready for both of them next year. And she said it's one of your best songs. I love this song. And you know what? I've been trying all day to think, what is it about it that I love? And because I love your music, but I don't know. There's just something about this one that connects really deeply with people. And I'm really enjoying it. How are you?
The response has been incredible. I didn't really expect a response, because what I find is sometimes when you release a slower track,
yes,
it doesn't necessarily get traction.
No, not on radio and things, but it has.
Yeah, but this one has just really grabbed people, and I'm so glad. It's a song that was very, very easy to write. I was sitting down in my studio and I was tapping away on my keyboard, and I'm not a keyboard player, tapping away on my keyboard, and it came out of nowhere. I hadn't sat down to write a song.
Oh, wow.
And the lyric, "I hear your voice," came to me, and I just kept tapping on the piano going, "I hear your voice, I hear your voice, I hear your voice." And within 30 minutes, the song was finished.
Wow.
Sometimes, as songwriters know, you can paint over things for
Yeah.
days, weeks, months, years. And I've done it myself, but with this one, it sort of spilled out. And I asked my wife to come down and listen to it after I'd finished the song. And I knew that it had some impact when she had a tear in her eye about two-thirds of the way through the song. Yeah, I thought, well, this really is touching her, and it's evoking emotion. So the next thing that happened after I had the "hear your voice, I hear your voice, I hear your voice" is the picture came into my mind of a soldier on a battlefield, a young soldier on a battlefield, and it kind of went from there. And
it was not so there was no real life thing that came in. It's just something that popped into your head when it was too.
No, and this is not a true story for me, but it's a true story for so many people, because this has happened. Unfortunately, people have left to go and fight for the country that they love and want to protect it, and they've left their loved ones behind, and they haven't returned home.
No.
You know, and that is an incredible sacrifice for everybody, particularly in Australia. You know, we're so proud of all the soldiers that have gone and fought wars over the years for us. So yeah, so it came out of nowhere. Didn't sit down to write it, just fell out.
It just happened. It's funny, you know. I've seen a couple of comments lately on because I've been trying to catch up on all the music releases and things, and I've seen a couple of artists make comments of, I went to bed last night and this thing popped into my head and I had to get up and do it, because it sometimes isn't it's not at the times that you think it's going to happen. It just happens when it does, and it's just funny how they just fall out occasionally like that.
It is, and I'm not sure whether I ever have. Well, sorry, I have consciously sat down to write songs, but only collaborations. My songs just sort of come out of the blue, where I'll just be strumming on guitar or hit my keyboard or whatever, and a lyric, a word, a picture, something will come to mind, and I'll expand on it. So I don't actually go down to my studio and sit there and say, right, I need to write some songs for another album. They just arrive. And I don't know why, and I don't know whether that's normal for other songwriters, but it's just what happens with me. You know, most of the songs, nearly all of the songs that I've written have just come from nowhere.
Yeah, it's because a lot of, and I know we've had these conversations before, but when you have a whole album, and that's why we like an album, because it's kind of like a whole story in itself, the album together, and because you don't sit down specifically to write for that album, as you were just saying. Does it just seem to just happen that they kind of tell a story on their own and together as a body of work? Like, is it just that period of time that you're writing in, or do you think, no, I'll keep that one for a different album?
I have done that. I've certainly kept songs that I didn't think fitted into the format of the album, the 10 or 12 songs you put on an album, and I've left them an album or two albums later even at times. So I don't really write with an album in mind. I write because the songs come to me. And when I go and record, if I record 16 or 18 tracks in the studio, then I'll make a conscious decision on what kind of works and what kind of fit together. But I always like to put some surprises in as well, because I don't think I could be categorized as a single genre artist.
You can't. No.
I think and it was confusing when I first started releasing albums. You know, I had PR people saying, "What are you?" I said, what do you mean? They said, "What genre are you?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm just writing songs, recording them, putting them together in an album, and putting the album out." And I don't want to change that. I don't want to have a particular pattern in what I do, because I think, you know, I've listened to so many albums over the years where it seems like the band's gone in with a couple of songs, which are great songs, and then they've tried to build the rest of the album around those two great songs, and it really hasn't worked.
No. So I think it's actually becoming more normal now for artists to be doing what feels right to them as an artist, as opposed to what they have to write to fit in now. And I think genres are kind of becoming not such a big deal.
They're becoming more fluid, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I was listening to Troy Cassadaly's last album a little while ago, and even artists like Troy are doing that. He had some blues numbers on there. You know, he'd done some collaborations with Ian Moss. So it even had something with a rap artist. You know, one of the tracks. So I think people are experimenting more, because recording's become so much easier over the years. With software and technology, that people can get into a studio and go, right, well, here's a song. What can we make it? How do we shape this song?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Let's play and have a go. And Kaz said that, which is, sorry, there's a few quotes coming in. Absolutely, Kaz, I agree. There's just something about this song. And I remember when you said it to me, there was just something about, I got goosebumps when I listened to it, and I'm like, yes, this is brilliant. And just something about it, it just grabs you.
Thank you, Kaz.
It's beautiful. And as Kaz said, there's 94 types of country music. That's true. And you know what Slim said? Even because people will always write songs with country, because country music adds to the sound. So we're still there.
Well, country music is just growing and growing and growing.
I know.
It's one of those things that was probably frowned upon. Even when I was
Oh, 100%. When I was
Wouldn't
growing
it?
up, it was.
When I was growing
Really?
up, I was a rock guy, and I thought country music. Ooh,
Well,
who
who
listens
listens
to
to
country
that?
music? But
Yeah.
just country is so broad now, as Kaz
Yeah.
said, 94 different
Right.
genres. And it's funny,
Yeah.
I was at a songwriting retreat in the Blue Mountains. When was that? Last year, November last year, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah.
And
What a horrible place to go and write.
horrible place to go.
Horrible
Right,
place.
yeah. And one of the people who was there, Lynn Botel was there.
Yeah.
Roger Corbett was there. I can't think who else was there, but I played a song because they sort of get you up on the spot and say, right, I play a song we haven't recorded. And I played a song, and Alan Caswell was there, and he said, I think you created a new genre with that. That was his comment. So they might be 95 now. I haven't released that song yet.
That song's not out yet. We can't wait to hear that one. That's got to be on your press release. It's got to be the first Alan Caswell said.
Alan Caswell says the most recorded man in the country says.
I know. He's getting close to that 1,000, isn't he?
Yeah.
1,000 songs recorded. But you know, when if he makes a comment like that, you know you've done a good job. He will tell you if it's rubbish or if it's he's not shy and coming forward.
No, he's pretty straight down the line.
Yep. Which is great. I love that.
I do too. You know, we stand.
It's exactly. And you know, you come away taking so much from that because you're like, oh, I can learn from this, and it's really good. But you've done very well with this song. I would actually love to hear his thoughts on this song. So we'll have to send it to him and get him to write us his thoughts.
Well, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Tell me a bit, because you wrote it so quickly, and obviously, you know, your wife's reaction is probably what made you go, if it's getting to somebody straight away, like before you've recorded, before you've added things into it, and you could see that had that. Is it something that you sort of thought you knew when you were putting it out? You knew people were going to feel differently with this one, or did you genuinely get surprised? Like with all, I know you've had lots of views and lots of talks about it, but did it shock you a bit? Because
I'll tell you a secret, a trade secret, Danny. And I'm not sure that I told too many people this, and I certainly haven't done it live. But as I was writing the song, I had tears in my eyes because that's how much it impacted me.
Yeah.
Because I just felt I felt like I was in the situation where, you know, I knew that I was going to die. I knew I wouldn't see the most important person in my life again, and that's kind of how I was writing the song.
It kind of felt like it was you being that person for that moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes you wonder if there's ever somebody behind that you needing to get their thing somehow passing that down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Chelsea popped in and said hi.
Hi.
And Kaz said that your wife is a good judge.
He always says that.
Very smart,
and
Kaz.
You're right, Kaz, because she's not always so flattering with my songs. Sometimes she just says, maybe you could change that. Maybe you could do something different with that song.
I know that something's not right now as soon as you get that reaction.
Exactly.
Was she a fan of country music and music in general before you got together? Was that something that you actually had in common?
Well, she loves music. She loves all genres of music. Certainly the 80s rock, but you know, some of the big country music artists from the 80s and whatever are her favorites. So country's certainly not strange to her. But you know, I don't know whether I'm a country music artist, Danny. I
think you're.
I don't know what I am. I write the songs, and country music is so obliging that they listen to my songs, which I'm very appreciative of. And you know, you've got to be, I guess, a bit younger than I am to make a mark in other genres. So rock or pop or rap, or I don't know, whatever genre. And country music seems to be a very welcoming atmosphere, and people just enjoy that. They don't mind if you go a bit left or a bit right in your songwriting. You know, they just appreciate for what the story tells. So
yeah, I think it's the truth behind it because it's genuine, it's real, and I think that's what makes it special because it's truth, it's the stories, it's storytelling that people can relate to, or they know people that can relate to it as well. It's might not be, as you say, it's not this isn't your story. You didn't go off to war and not come home, but it's somebody's story and people can relate, and people, especially in their releasing it, you're so close to Anzac Day and that sort of thing as well, that it brings in those level of emotions again, doesn't it?
Well, it's funny because I played this song. I was at the DAG and I played this song on the first night to the group of musicians, and then they were a bit confused about it, to be honest, because I played it on acoustic guitar and I sung all the parts, so they didn't really get the interaction aspect of it. So I was writing a song with Felicity Urquhart the next day, and I said, look, I've done a recording, a sort of ad hoc recording of the song with a female vocalist. Do you mind if I play it to you? And I played it to her and she said, oh, I get it now. I get it. Didn't quite get it yesterday. She said, oh, that actually grabbed me, you know, when I played it to her. So I thought, she's a serious songwriter and she's written so many great songs. So when you get that sort of feedback, you know that you're somewhere in the ballpark of a good song.
Exactly. And that was my next question: is when you wrote it, did you intend it to be a two-part kind of song, or is that something that at the end you've gone, no, this is definitely got to happen like this?
Well, I didn't intend to write it.
So it didn't really come into that mind. It's how you wrote it.
And when I finished it, when I finished the lyric, or pretty much finished the lyric, I probably tweaked it a little bit afterwards. I just felt that it needed to be a two-part story. I just felt that to deliver it by myself, and maybe it was something to do with playing it live at the DAG on acoustic guitar, where people really didn't get the feel of the song and what the song was about. Maybe that subconsciously was something that helped me to decide that it needs to be a call and answer type delivery. So I think all of that helped direct the song to where it needed to be. And the film clip, I think, is just the thing that absolutely capped it off and really captured the emotion in the track.
Yes. And I was going to go there after we spoke about Montana Sharp, but let's have a chat about the film clip first, because did you put ideas into that, or was that something you just let Duncan, here's the song, have a think?
I gave him a script big.
Yeah.
Well, because I visualized what, obviously when you write a song and you come up with the idea of the song, you have a mental vision of what the song's about and how it should be portrayed on video. So I rang Duncan. I said, I'm going to send you through a clip. I send you through a song, have a listen to it, and see whether you want to do a video for it, because I find that you've got to get engagement out of who's producing the video. If they're not in it, then you're not going to get the best result. So I sent it to him. He rang me back and he said, "That's a bloody good song." He said, that was his comment. I'm not sure that I'm allowed to say that on there.
Yes, you can. Yes, he would, and he's a great. He knows a good song.
Yeah, and I got goosebumps because I respect the guy immensely.
Yes,
and he just said, "Wow, that is a bloody good song."
Yeah,
I can't, and he was excited about doing the clip, which is great. So I said to him, "Well, here's the thing with the clip. I've got a bit of an idea of what I want to see. I don't want to cloud your vision of the clip, because I'd never want to cloud the way he goes about the clips, because he expands on the ideas incredibly." But I said, it's, other sides of the world, young guy, young girl. I said, I don't want to be in the clip. I think that'll take away from it. Now, in the end, he said, well, I think we can put some, piano playing. So I'm actually, you can see my hand that's about it. And a funny story, really, because that piano Duncan found on the side of the road.
That one, yeah.
took it back to his studio. It's as wonky as anything. It's not possible to tune it. So I'm sitting there trying to play along to the video and the
sounding completely different
on something that sounds horrible, absolutely horrible.
Trying to picture the song with that sound.
Yeah, exactly. And but that's a side story. But yeah, so I said to him, look, here's what I see. You know, young girl, the other side of the world, the emotion. You know, a soldier who obviously is on a battlefield and distraught about the fact that he subconsciously knows, or he knows that he's not going to return home. His young wife knows that she's not going to see him again. And the interplay between those two with all that emotion, that's what we need to capture in the video. And of course, I turn up to Gosford, to his studio. We'd selected 2 actors to play, Jonah and Lisa.
Was that hard too? Is it hard to find the right people for that sort of
Well, Duncan did that. He sent me a whole heap of pictures of people. He went through little film bits and pieces they sent through to him, and he picked those 2, and he did an amazing job. They were fantastic. But what he also organised was there's a vintage store just up the road from his studio. So he said, give me everything that's 1940s. And it just so happened that the actual paper that you see a couple of shots of is from 1940. That was an old 1940s paper that had a story about the war in it. And I said, well, we've got to get that. We've got to get that in. So there was old furniture, there was all the old costumes and whatever. He'd organised all of that. And, you know, I'm so comfortable with Duncan that I just say, you do what you do, and I'm sure it'll be great. And, you know, obviously I was there for the filming. We did 3 different locations. We did 2 separate beach locations and the studio location for the clip.
Yes.
And when he sent me through that, he was excited about it. And I loved it. He was excited about it. And he sent me through the clip. And he said, this is awesome. This has really come up nicely. And I watched the clip. And I watched it again. I watched it again. I watched it again.
Yeah.
And I played it to Emma, my wife, and she had tears in her eyes. And I said, there's just nothing I want to change about it. You just nailed it in first draft, which is unusual. Normally you tweak a few bits and
backwards and forwards, and
so it was just incredible. The whole thing went really well. Even the weather turned it on for us. You know, we're filming on a rock ledge out on the beach, or near the sea at Gosford, and these waves started coming up and crashing up against the rock wall. And I got looking at Duncan, I said, please tell me you got that. Please tell me you got those waves crashing.
He got it. He did well.
And the sun was just sort of peeking through. The clouds were beautiful. It was just, it couldn't have been better. And I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting for the song, and fitting for the clip, and fitting for all of those people who have served, you know, and lost their lives. I just think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of what Duncan's done.
Absolutely. Isn't he incredible? He's just, you cannot go wrong with him, can you? Absolutely they do. And that, I think that's something that we can help with as we keep sharing.
Thanks,
and people keep doing, like yourself, they do the reviews and sharing music and getting it out there. It's so good. It's the power of people that does that, I find.
Well, it is. And, you know, this, I think I might have mentioned before, but the amount of people that have shared this video on Facebook is incredible. There's been hundreds of people that have shared it. And I didn't expect that because, you know, you work hard to get your music out there and get it heard. But when people are actively saying, you know, basically they're saying, oh, I really like this, other people need to see it, you go, wow, how good is that?
It's so good. And, you know, it's just that feeling that you get. Like, I remember when I first watched it, I was like, I had the goosebumps, and I thought, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic for your next release. And it would be really nerve-wracking as an artist, as you said, releasing a bit of a slower song, because you're right, they don't tend to get as much play out in the world as what some of the sort of the other sort of side of the fast and the upbeat. But this song, it really is reaching to people, and I think it's lovely just to see that people are sitting down and actually listening to it and enjoying it.
And people are actually watching the whole clip because
Yes.
we're very busy
you get
these
like
days.
3-second views, or
People are saying, "Oh, that last shot of Lisa at the end is just breathtaking when she's just looking straight at the camera, almost in shock." So people are actually watching the whole video, which is kind of cool too.
And that must feel really good because you put so much into your music, and there's so many layers to it that it must feel really good to know that people are actually drawn in for that entire time.
Yes, it's very satisfying to know, because you don't really know as an artist. You don't really know whether people enjoy your music, whether they're going to watch the videos, whether they click on that Facebook post and say, yeah, I want to like this page because I'm enjoying the music, and that's so important for so many reasons these days. It's so important that people do click like on a page, because a lot of the festivals, as you know, Danni, a lot of the festivals go straight to socials and say, well, is there 5 people that like this artist, or is there 5,000? If there's 5,000, well, there's the likelihood they're going to bring some people to the festival, so we'll book them. So anyone out there, if you've got a favourite artist, just like their page.
Follow them, support them. It doesn't cost. It's actually the stuff that doesn't cost that helps just as much as buying an album sometimes, doesn't it? It's those things you can't buy that. It's actually got to be your fans that are doing that for you, which is brilliant. And before we do wrap up, I just want to touch on Montana Sharp. How did that come about with Montana? Because she's done a great job.
Oh, fantastic. Montana's, I met her through the studios, Soggy Dog Studios in Upwey. And Montana's been doing backing vocals on my albums for the last 3 albums. So she's a young Melbourne-based singer. She does her own stuff, and she's fantastic, a great vocalist. And she's been doing some backing vocals, and I got her to do a little bit on the last album. I got her to do a bit of a solo spot. But as soon as I'd finished this song, and I use a few different female backing vocalists on the album, on my albums. But as soon as I finished this song, I started to think about whose voice would be best for the song. And I went straight to Montana, called her up and said, look, I've got this idea. Do you want to come in and sing on the song? She was really happy to do it. Took 4 or 5 takes. That was all it took to deliver what I think is a very emotional delivery, and that was important to me, to get that emotion in the song. So
it just worked. It was just everything about this song's just fallen into place, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah, it's only taken me lots of years to get a song that's all sort of
to do it. I know,
fallen in place.
It's so crazy, isn't it? You can never pick it. You just can never pick it. And it's just, I think it just happens when it happens, and there's not a lot of control that anybody has, is there?
No.
But I think you've done really well with this song, and I think people are loving it, and it's so good to see. So well done, and watch it grow, because it's still growing. It's still out in this world, going crazy, which is lovely.
Yeah.
What have you got coming up? Have you got shows coming up? What can we see from you over the next few months?
I'm actually heading next week. I'm heading overseas. So
is it next week? That's come quick. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I know. So I'll be hunting around trying to find spots to play some songs while I'm over there in Memphis and Jackson and Oklahoma and Arkansas. So I always do that, and I always find some places to play, which is great. Then I come back. I go back into the studio for a little while, because I've already started on my 8th album. I haven't released this album, but I'm a glutton for punishment. So I've got a whole pile of songs to start recording, and then I'm back up to mid-year to I've got a bunch of shows at Hats Off and a few other bits and pieces around the place. So it's just more.
It goes crazy, doesn't it? It's good. It's good though, because it just means that people are wanting you and you're getting out there. But I know this song to be going overseas with, I think this is a great release to be heading over there. And hopefully you can sort of get it out onto radio a bit over there as well while you're there, drop into some stations and get some on the air and do a few chats, because I think this is something that they'll grab to as well. I think it's something that it's not just an
Yeah.
Australian song. It's a song that I think will reach out to quite a lot of people wherever
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right. It's probably I think it is an international song. So
Yeah.
I mean, every country has been affected by war and loss. So
Exactly. And even like war in general, like war going away, but even recent wars, you know, you've had people that have been working and fighting COVID, that we've all had war in different forms that's affected everybody.
Yeah.
It's
That's a really good point.
everyone can relate to it in some sort of level, and it's a really good time to be putting it out there to go, you know, remember to that, you know, just to appreciate the small things and appreciate why you've got it.
Yeah,
And,
exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a busy year, and
yeah,
I've already got more release plans. So
it started off so good for you, and it's still going so well, and it's just so lovely to see. 2023 is your year.
Thank you very much.
It's definitely your year. But thank you for coming back. Just before we go, what are the best places to follow you while you're away? Because I'm sure you're going to be doing some posts and keeping an eye on what you're doing, because it's lovely to watch our artists overseas.
Yeah, look, I guess Facebook, you know, if people like the page, Brendan McMahon Music, that's a good start. I'll be posting on there. The website, I probably won't do a lot on the website while I'm away.
Until you get back,
Promote, but so probably Facebook is as good as any. That's the one I gravitate towards.
Yeah, and it's easy to get messages on if people want to ask questions, or like it's a good platform that's easy to use with artists and also with fans, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a good way.
Yeah, exactly.
Have that feeling. So tell us, if you haven't seen the song yet, or heard the song, or seen the film clip, go and have a watch now, and please let us know what you think, because honestly, it will blow you away. I think it's one of Duncan's best works. I think it's one of your best works. It's just such a wonderful song that's just come together perfectly. So jump over there now. In the top of the comments is the link. So have a look, and make sure you subscribe while you're there, so you get reminders for the next singles or the next lots of videos that come out as well. But thank you for braving us again, Brendan. It's always fun talking to you.
Always a pleasure, Danny. Always a pleasure.
And enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you when you get back.
Okay. Lovely.
We'll see you guys later. We'll be back next week with quite a few shows. So check the page, because they're already up. So make sure you hit interested or going, and then it will give you a reminder as well. And we'll see you guys all next week.